theater is very, very important part of arts. And I know that it's not as revered as some of the other parts of entertainment, but I think it's very much so important because I think there's an energy with live audiences that you don't get, say, with pre-recorded things.
No do-overs.
No do-over. You really have to be on your game.
You got to be on it. You can't go blank. You got to be there.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Making It. My name is Kenan Cooley and I'm with
Alvin Shear. Hey everybody from the West Coast, the best coast, the left coast.
Hey, excuse me, East Coast, West Coast.
You know.
All right, we'll have that debate later.
Yeah, later.
So, have you been to a play lately?
I haven't, but I grew up going to a lot of them, and we grew up in a very conservative faith. We didn't believe in going to the theater, to the movie house, because they were sinful. But my mom would save up her money, and once, I would say every 6 months, it's going to make me sneeze, but I'm going to reject that. Once every 6 months, we'd go to see a play. We saw Wizard of Oz, The Wiz. We saw Arms Too Short to Box with God, Dreamgirls, all of that. So it's first time I ever saw Patti LaBelle was in a play. Dear to my heart.
Yeah, my dad used to take me to a lot of plays, and I saw Dreamgirls. I remember seeing that. I saw, I forgot how to say it. When the rainbow isn't enough, for color women only, when the rainbow isn't enough, or something like that.
Oh man, that
was a good one. Yeah, I know, right?
I saw Fiddler on the Roof and Timbuktu.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah, it was great.
Yep. And I saw Shakespeare, one of the Shakespeare plays.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, but I think theater is very, very important part of arts. And I know that it's not as revered as some of the other parts of entertainment, but I think it's very much so important because I think there's an energy with live audiences that you don't get, say, with pre-recorded things.
No do-overs.
No do-over. You really have to be on your game.
You got to be on it. You can't go blank. You got to be there. So,
and I think you also have to be willing to, or so skilled that you're able to shift. To say if someone forgot their line.
Sure. You got to be able to keep going or give them their line, all of that.
Yeah, and so that's what's the case with our next guest. She is an actress, and she is also a singer.
Okay.
So we will find out all about her new endeavors, and her name is Roz White.
We're so glad you're here with us, Roz.
Thank you. I'm glad that you have me here.
Yes. She was naming all of the things that you do, and it was this/, and then we ran out of time. So,
so tell us a little bit about what you've done over the course of your entertainment career, and then what you're doing now.
Well, for me, it's been 38 years in entertainment. I started as a little kid with the DC Youth Ensemble in Washington, D.C. Shout out to Carol Foster and Baba Melvin Deal, who gave me my roots in theater and in performing in D.C. and grew up as a showbiz kid, went to Duke Ellington School of the Arts.
Awesome.
Right.
Yes. Nice. And got an opportunity to have Mike Malone as my mentor. Went to Howard University and graduated with my BFA, and I continued to perform professionally throughout that time, also teaching at Ellington and Howard. I've done all kinds of regional theater and sung on the road with many artists, including Yolanda Adams. And for 7 years, that was my job. Singing background for Yolanda Adams. Lived in New Orleans for 3 years, sang on Bourbon Street, done a couple of independent films. In the process right now of filming a pilot for a new show, and I am on the national tour of Tina, the Tina Turner Musical, and I'm playing Zelma Bullock, who's Tina's mom.
You go,
which is amazing.
Girl.
That list right there, right?
Yeah, just in DC.
Right.
There's no corner on DC she does not know or has not worked. That's amazing.
She has made a mark in DC. She's like, okay, I'm going to kill it.
That is awesome. So what? Go ahead.
What have you felt like with your career shifting in terms of going from where you started to where you are now?
believe probably the shift was in the mid 90s. My time at Howard University was, I say this all the time, charmed. I could not have had a better college experience. I was homecoming queen, and then I was Miss Collegiate African American, which is over all of the HBCUs. So I got a chance to see, I got a chance to go to 50 campuses of HBCUs and speak to young women about how we could be better change agents in our communities. And so I think that really shifted things for me, because I was always a performer. Like I said, I've been in the business since I was about 12. But this was a shift in that I could have a global platform. And so that's where everything kind of evened out. And I started really being more interested in what I could do to help other teaching artists, because there are those of us who, even though we professionally perform, we still want to give back, and we have youth that we want to touch. And so I was one of those kids that needed somebody like me in their life. And so I want to be that for someone else. And so I think that's where the shift happened, opened up. It's like, oh, you're not just a performer. You have a voice performing. Yes.
You get a call from your agent and they say, you can direct, you could be an actress in this, you can write it, you can do which is the call you return first?
The actress call. I still got the bug. But I just got a musical directing gig with Imagination Stage for a beautiful children's piece called The Hula Hooping Queen. So please check that out at Imagination Stage next year. I'll be the musical director for that. So I still do everything.
Yeah.
I still do everything, but the acting bug is definitely the strongest.
Wow.
And your career has been so long. And so, I always wonder, when people have a career that's long and robust, what would you give for advice as to how you keep it alive, really?
A lot of people believe that acting is this make believe or pretend, but I believe it's the study of human behavior. So you have to really be a person that's interested in that, interested in the human experience, and in how many different ways I can bring that to life so that people can maybe change their perspective. I'm a big theater and just art for social change person. I think that it has more of a purpose than entertainment. Some of it, entertainment is absolutely fine and we need an escape. But for me, there's a bigger mission inside of it, and how we can affect others and get people thinking differently. So for me, that's a big component of it. That's how I keep going. I find different ways that I can be used within my craft. Every day there's a new way. I'm surprised every day somebody calls me with, would you be interested in this or that? And I'm like, wow, I never even thought of that. So staying open would be my advice.
Yeah, that's very true.
Now, I hear that the screen actresses and actors, they do the research and they get into the mind of the character and that kind of thing. Now, when you take it to the stage, I just imagine that it has to be bigger. How do you plus something when you're doing your research? How did you get into the role of, is it the mother of, is it Tina Turner?
Yeah.
So for me, everybody has their own process and the way that they work. For me, I really get into the text and I really try to get background on the characters that I'm portraying. I've had the great fortune to create over 20 roles in my career. And so you create a role, there's no benchmark for it. But with the role that you're stepping into that someone's done before, you have to find a way to make it your own, to put your own signature stamp on it. And that really comes from experience. When I was a young kid, I thought I knew everything. And then as I grew older, I was like, oh, wow, this opens up. Every day I have a new revelation. Before the character work for this, I had to find the humanity in Zelma. Zelma Bullock, Tina's mom, because the general picture that people get is that she didn't love her daughter. And I just think that too cut and dry. There's no gray area in there. And I started to look for photographs. Every photograph I saw, they were face touching, big smiles. And so what I brought from that is that it may have been difficult for her mother to show love, and she didn't have tools or the it was a different time when we had
it was
harder on our kids. We had to be harder with our kids and couldn't be as affectionate because it would weaken them. So we thought in our minds. Tina Turner grew up in Nutbush, Tennessee. She picked cotton as a kid. So that's a different lifestyle than we have.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and parents, what can be considered abandonment. Back then, parents would even try to make a better way for their kids. And she and her mother they just didn't connect. everybody's not meant to be a parent.
Yeah, come on now. True.
Everybody.
So did you
That's the
find
word
that
right there.
did you find while you were doing your research that you wanted to take on some of her, I guess, idiosyncrasies as well as the parts that you did, wanted to applaud, I guess, for being a mom, just being a mom?
Absolutely. I wanted her to be a very layered character. And so, I added different nuances and will continue. This is the thing about theater that I love, is that it's not a one-shot deal. You get night after night after night to perfect and to hone and to zero in. And some nights it's not the same. Some nights the audience is not given what you need them to give you. And some nights the fellow actors are maybe in another state of mind.
Right.
When I was younger,
True.
you could, when I was younger, I would have argued you down. I'm in character all the time. Now that I've gotten older, I'm like, did I leave those greens on the stove? It's just life takes over. And so you have to, concentrate a lot harder. Stay in the moment.
And that would be my challenge. I'm notorious. I'm being a singer. The biggest thing that freaks me out is forgetting the lyrics. The lyrics.
That's
What's your device to remember? Okay, now here. How do you remember all of that dialogue?
Yeah, that is the most frequently asked question, and it's so unfair to me. I have an eidetic memory. I have a really, really good memory. People say it's photogenic. I'm like, your memory can't be photogenic. But anyway, people say that I have a photographic memory. I don't know that it's photographic. It takes me a couple of times seeing something for it to stick. But whereas it would take the average person 4 times, it takes me 1.5. Right. So I have a really good memory.
Well, even you saying it that way, you see it for it to stick. That tells me where you're coming, how you approach it.
Yes, definitely a visual learner, but I'm also auditory. I'm a teacher, so I'm always fascinated by the way that people process information. Right. For me, lines just come easily. Repetition is key though. If I say it 3 or 4, look at it. Next time I try to write it without from memory, and then I know I've got it. So everybody has their own, process, but the memory thing has always come easy to me.
Yeah, now I was talking to Alvin about, when you're doing a play, because I said that would be hard for me too. But I was thinking, have you guys had times where you add, when you do film, you could ad lib, but sometimes people keep it. But when you're on stage, it's like, well, that's it. It's not like you can say take 2, take 5, or whatever. So have there been times where people have done ad libs and it turned out better than I won't say better than the script, but it kind of made it better? Or what has been some experiences you've had?
Sure, that's the part of the process. There's some actors who will never deviate from the text as it is written. And I respect them as well. I'm somewhere in between. If the opportunity is there for ad lib, I enjoy it. I also have worked with directors who encourage going beyond the page. And so you have to work with the director that you were working with. And if they allow it, it can be a lot of fun, but you also have to know how to pull it in and get back to work on the page. Right. It's a balance.
So that's where you are now. You were at the people in the background. You were actually at practice and rehearsals, right? For the Tina.
The real deal.
Yeah. It's lunchtime right now. And because of my amazing role in the show, I was called in late this afternoon, so I didn't have to come in early this morning. But these guys have been here since 10 a.m. banging out all these dance numbers. I mean, this show I saw the Broadway show 3 weeks ago, and I've never been that quiet in a show in my life. I was glued to the stage every second. It's amazing. It's an amazing piece. It's an amazing piece.
So you got to see the person that performed it before you as that same character. Did that influence you at all?
Well, yeah, definitely. I got to hear things differently than my approach, and that's always fresh to get a different perspective. And I just got to see the moving parts and how everything works. Of course, our show will be different because we are not in one place. So as we change theaters, we have to scale our show down from all of the big production values and make it more about the acting performances. And so that's what I'm excited about, is that the actors drive the story. It's not something falling out of the sky or something moving around on stage. We have to drive. So that's exciting. That's the kind of work I like to do.
Well, I got one more technique question for you, because it's fascinating to me, that world. Because I get to cheat so much, being in the studio or being in such and such, but it's got to be right. How do you, as a voiceover artist, when I approach a role, they say to get into this character, one of the devices you do is to laugh in the character that you're going to do. And it's like, okay, this guy laughs like this, and all of a sudden you're in that guy. What do you do to keep from slipping into, instead of Mama, Tina's mama to Geraldine's mama? You know, how do you keep your roles separate so you're not mixing voices?
The voice, I try to find as much commonality in my own voice with the voice of the character. And that keeps me, because when it's too big of a character, especially because we're moving and interacting as opposed to recording,
Right.
You have to keep it natural and conversational, and but at the same time big enough for the stage.
Right.
So it's just really a matter of finding her voice within my voice. But then, you have to concentrate on consistently, and this comes from rehearsing, over and over again, the consistency, how the speech pattern, the rhythm. But that, I'm going to take that, the laughing in the character. My character doesn't have many opportunities to laugh. So I need to find that, though. I need to find
that's
it.
one
That's
little
great.
trick. Yeah.
That's a great.
Yeah. Wow.
So do you have any plays that plays or I guess entertainment spaces that influenced or did you kind of like say, oh, I really love this genre of plays? Because I mean, there are different ways to have, different parts of the arts.
Sure. Well, I think for me, when I was a little kid, I was fascinated by two performers, and that was Nell Carter and Lena Horne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Very different.
Very different, but still very much musical theater, very much triple threat talent.
Sure.
Yes.
Multiple abilities, and just captivating on stage and on camera, because at the time that Nell Carter had Give Me a Break, there was nothing like that on television.
Right. Oh yeah,
and,
true.
Fuller figured woman to have a show centered around her. She encountered a lot of hate mail backlash. People were very cruel to her, because of her size, and it eventually led to her becoming very depressed. But before that, when it was pure, when it was wonderful, you had not seen anything like that on television. And then Lena Horne came to DC with her one-woman show when I was in high school. Yeah. And fortunately enough, I went to Ellington, so we got to perform for Lena Horne. And I, of course, had to sing Stormy Weather. So,
wow,
the whole nine. But I never forgot the way she engaged us. And that's just all. I mean, I don't know where this came from. I was told that my biological father had a beautiful voice and also played trombone, but I didn't get to spend much time with my biological father. So it wasn't like I was raised in a singing family or anything like that. I literally was this kid in a family of everyday people that all of a sudden they go, oh no, this kid is different. She can sing. Oh, she likes to be on stage. Oh, she's different. And through all the years of Get a Real Job, through all the years of, this is
oh, you get that too.
Oh my God. But now, it's, of course, we'll be there. Or can we get tickets? That kind of
right. Yeah. Once they see you progress, I think that's the thing. Once they see that your dream is not just a dream, and it can be reality, I think. Yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, you're serious.
So the state of the union now, or the state of the art, is Black theater shoulder to shoulder with some of the major productions? Is it, are we still in the back seat, or are we, because of our talent and our amazing abilities, are we getting the shot at the big endorsement monies and underwriting monies and that kind of thing?
I think we're getting more shots, of course, than we've ever gotten before. I think that we still need to be more focused on creating our own shots, because the more we are, dependent on somebody else's yes or no, then it's going to keep us in a position of what we don't have. Once we really start to pour into ourselves and to invest in ourselves, then we will really see a change. And so there's friends of mine who are producing music and theater all over the country at an independent level that are doing quality work, making great art. And it's just a matter of exposure at this point. And so while I have friends on every level of the business, I have friends who are major motion picture movie stars, and I have friends who are community theater actors. The quality of the work is no different. It's just the level where we are and the
Exactly.
access that we have.
Exactly.
And so I work to try to not, not negate any level.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have the opportunity to work on many levels and to bring the quality work on every level. That has just always been my goal. But yes, we do have more shots. I think once again, I say that the more we concentrate on creating our own, we won't be so aware of the difference because we will have our own.
Right.
And that goes for award shows, that goes for schools of training for actors, because it's different, lighting,
pensions, all of that stuff.
Everything. Yeah. We just need to be sure that we have our own rich resources.
Right.
And collaboration is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So how do you think, with this new generation and, social media, I mean, we are of the same generation. So, what do you think about the new generation and how they're affected with, the plays? In some ways, for me, I think they don't get the value of it, but I didn't know how, you teach them. So maybe you can speak more on how they are perceiving it.
Well, the pandemic did a whole lot to shift some of what was really caught up in technology and get to me getting a little bit out of control when it comes to the basic needs of an actor.
Yeah.
The skill set, the level was being served by technology. With the pandemic, even though we had to rely heavily on technology to communicate, it brought out and it fleshed out who was really serious about their craft, because it takes a lot to endure the possibility of not having any work and still want to pursue that craft.
True.
Just imagine waking up one morning and nobody's ever sick again. What are doctors going to do? And so, that sounds very far-fetched, but that's what it felt like for an actor. Like, nobody's ever going to be able to do what we do again. It was very scary. And so we had to find more creative ways of doing it. So the kids and the adults had to come together and form an alliance. I have to bring what I know to the table. They have to bring what they know to the table. This experience in this tour so far has been that we have every skill level represented. One of the kids, their first show. And then we got Ann Nesby in the cast, who's a 2-time Grammy winner and been in the business for, 50 years.
Please tell her I said hello, by the way.
Absolutely. Every time I mention her name, somebody says that, which means that she has a life that's been well lived. People love her so much, and I do not blame them. She is amazing. I already love her dearly. So we have such a wealth of knowledge within the cast from every level. And I think that that's realistic and probably smart. You don't want everybody at the same skill level, and you don't, that's too high, and you don't want everybody that's, you want a good mixture so that we can learn from each other. And what I've learned from the younger artists is to ask for what you want. Because they sure do it. We did not do it.
Yes, that's
Absolutely.
True. They are not afraid of that.
Yeah.
So how long is the tour? How long is your tour?
It has the potential to be a couple of years. Right now, we're at 52. Right now, we're at 52 weeks. And so in actor life, that's a good government job. So
absolutely.
So it's without a break. I mean, I'm sorry, I was just saying, it's without a break.
We don't get a couple of layoffs. This time we have Christmas and we have Memorial Week of layoffs. And so, it's gonna be so much fun.
So how do you do? You're such an affable, lovable person. It's a pleasure to be with you on screen. And we talk to people that are in, technical this and technical that, and they kind of give us this one during the interview, and you're pointing at your thing like, she's supposed to be on stage. We love it. But when you deal with somebody that you don't jive with on stage, how do you work that out? I mean, when it's not like this dude right here, if this dude comes up on me one more time, how do you deal with that and get past him for the performance?
I've been very fortunate, and I've only had a few instances where I've had to love someone that I didn't like. That's just what I
nice way to put it. I like that.
That's great.
I love you, but I don't like you. And so ultimate professionalism comes into play. The goal is to get this message out to this new audience every night. They have gathered and spent their money and put on clothes to come sit in the dark and go on this journey with us. And so that's the goal. We're going to get the story across. Now, if that other person is professional, it works. If the other person is not professional, then that's when you have to go to higher ups. It's just like any other job.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
job, you get HR,
It's not
you
working.
try to hack things. Yeah,
Yeah.
and usually because of our profession, most of the people are happy to be there.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
a rare and you have somebody that doesn't want to be an actor. I'm like, then why are you an actor?
Yeah. Or diva-ing out.
Why would you?
That's what I was thinking about the diva.
hardest profession, you know?
Right. Right.
Why? So yeah, that's how I deal with it. I just turn on the professionalism, and it makes you do some self work as well. To look inside of yourself and see what it is that you may be giving off that is, making it not jive.
Right.
Because sometimes it's 9 times out of 10 it's insecurity that makes a person behave that way. And one of the best jobs in the world, like, are you kidding me? I couldn't have a better job unless I was running a lovely club in Jamaica.
The only other
Yeah,
that's the only better job.
That's your next gig. That'll be your next gig.
Exactly. That's my retirement gig.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Like we have we're not having people's lives in our hands with a surgical knife and having to like ease up. Like, that's what I say. Take it easy, because we have a job that helps people to feel better.
Yeah. And you get affirmed when you do a good job right there, right then and there. We think you're great. Do that again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that you, because working in production, I know for sure that there are a lot of creative differences that happen sometimes. So do you find that you have to manipulate, I wouldn't say manipulate, but manage that so that a good performance comes out of it, even if we don't agree on how it should be delivered or?
Sure. No, one of the most challenging things for me, I wrote a piece about Pearl Bailey that I have been touring and taking all over since about 2008. And the first production, my original musical director and director weren't available. So we had to hire another director and musical director. And I was happy with the way that things were going, but the other musical director, the original one, was not happy about it at all. And we bumped heads a lot. And I was like, the one that's on stage every night.
Right.
So ultimately, to be comfortable, sometimes we get in our heads. I know I do as a writer. I get in my head about what I want to see. But once you give it to that performer, you have to let them take it and put it in. And so those creative differences, but that's what makes the business what it is. If we all agreed, then everything would look exactly the same.
Absolutely.
And that's
true. That's very true. That's art. Yeah. That's what makes it art. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you
you have been in the go ahead. I was got one more.
No, I was going to ask about 13-year-old Roz. So you said that you were, you got the bug early. But if you were to say, hey, Roz, do this to get here or do this to get there, what would you advise young you to be all that you are now?
I would have said, stick with your piano lessons. Mastering an instrument is one of the biggest, and I don't want to even call it regret. It's just something that I just wish I had concentrated on more. If I played piano, there's so much more that I would have been able to do in between gigs to sustain. Mastering an instrument is something that I encourage anybody, if you have the inclination to do that. And so that's what I would have told.
That's good. That's good stuff.
Stick with your piano.
Good stuff.
Well, you have been an amazing guest, and your career is much to be applauded. So I take my hat off for you, my proverbial hat.
Thank you, Tina.
And wish you much success on your tour. So I hope to maybe cross paths with you and see it. It'd be great to know that I know someone on stage actually performing. So
definitely, yeah, I'm looking forward to all the cities. DC is going to be ridiculous. I've already apologized to my castmates for how crazy people are going to be acting in DC. This is a big deal. Like, home girl gets her dream, whatever. So everybody's like, and it's going to be great in DC. So hope to see you on one of the
excited. I'm actually about to do Omar out here in LA Symphony with that first production, Big 60. So I'm delving into your waters. I'm a chorister, but I'm going to be kind of in that world. But I admire it. Yeah, excited. Thank you.
All the best. Thank you so much for your time.